This weekend, we have the third major of the Call of Duty season. It's going to be in Toronto, so today we have to do the pick'ems. I'll be honest, for Major 3, we probably have the most competitive first-round matches that we've seen all year long. And it doesn't literally start out, but I don't know why they decided to have Minnesota and Los Angeles Thieves, even though they're not the first match. That is the first match that we're going to be predicting. Obviously, my team, not quite my team, but the team that I root for. They are a part of the organization that I'm under. But this one's going to be tough for LAT because Minnesota have been lights out all Major 3 qualifiers. They were the only undefeated team. They went 5-0. They get the first seed heading into this major. One of their weakest game modes, Hardpoint, they turned it around completely. They finished the qualifiers 5-2, in S&D 5-1, and Control a perfect 5-0. So these wins that they were getting, they weren't close series. And on the side of LAT, it was pretty much the opposite. Okay, they went 2-3. Now they did secure a winner's bracket spot, and their series were very hot and cold. The 2 series they won 3-0, rather easily, I should say, excuse me. And then the 3 series that they lost, 0-3, absolute, just blew the doors off of LAT. Wasn't competitive at all. And as much as I want to, say LAT is going to win this series, I think Minnesota, they just look like a top team right now. I have them winning this series 3-1, moving on to winners round 2. And then that next match is going to be Toronto Ultra versus Atlanta FaZe. And Toronto looked good, guys. Toronto looked really good as of late. Toronto Ultra finished 4-1 in the Major 3 qualifiers. Atlanta FaZe 3-2. Okay, and Atlanta FaZe has not been looking like the Atlanta FaZe that we all know. I'm a little worried. Because, we've heard, people have been saying this for a while now, that Atlanta FaZe doesn't really enjoy this game. And I know that's not an excuse, but at the end of the day, if you don't enjoy something you're doing, you're not going to be giving it your all. You're not going to be going 100%. It doesn't matter if you're getting paid a lot to do it. It's just hard. Subconsciously, you're not going to be locked in and as dedicated to the grind and improving as you normally would if you actually enjoy whatever you're doing, right? Oh, baby. Do I go the upset? You know what? I think Toronto Ultra's getting hot. I'm going to say they win this series 3-2. I think it's going to go to that map 5. And I don't know. I think Atlanta FaZe can make a run. We got to see how it kind of shakes up. But that means that Toronto Ultra would be going up against Minnesota in the winners round 2. But we're not done with the rest of the winners round 1. We have Optic Texas versus Florida Mutineers. This one, I'm just going to breeze by. Mutineers, they don't move me. Okay, I've said it since the beginning. Ogre 2 even, was chirping back a little bit, all in good fun. They have too many main AR players on their team. Dave Patty, I'm sorry. I know you probably don't watch my videos. You probably don't care. But if you do see this, I'm not trying to come at you. I just think your play style isn't impactful. I think Florida could benefit from making a roster change just like how Minnesota did. I truly do, because they have the talent and they have the potential, and we've seen how good they can be. But I just think in terms of consistency, you need to make a roster move if they kind of want to break into that top tier of teams. Optic have looked great. There's really not much else to say. Prolu, I think, is going to have a great event unless he gets nervous. But from what I've seen so far online, he's looked great. Optics looked great. They haven't missed a beat. And then this is going to be my favorite match of the round 1. Seattle Surge versus NYSL. Seattle Surge has also turned it around. We have a lot of teams that have been, I guess I wouldn't say have been great in the beginning, but have been good and fell off, and now they're getting hot at the right time. NYSL and Seattle Surge, 2 of those teams that I'm talking about. And this is going to be a huge match because both of these teams need these points. NYSL's a little bit more desperate, but Seattle Surge, they could use every win that's in front of them, realistically. And I will say, in the Major 3 qualifiers, NYSL had a way harder strength of schedule, but both teams did look great. The hardest thing for Seattle Surge when it comes to the hard points, in my opinion, is going to be NYSL. They are just a great hardpoint team. Okay, let me lean up for this one. They have a very deep pool. They have a very deep hardpoint map pool. and they're great at almost all the hard points as of late. Seattle Surge, they've been trying to deepen their pool as well, and they have looked good, but I'm just worried that the NYSL might be too strong when it comes to that mode. But it's really going to come down to map 2, 3, and 5, the Neslo Special. But I have Seattle Surge coming out on top. I do. I think they're going to win this 3-1. This is probably the upset city because NYSL has to be the favorites. Atlanta FaZe, I don't know if you guys think Atlanta FaZe are the favorites, but I like Seattle Surge's game. Nothing against NYSL. I think they could also make a pretty nice loser bracket run depending on how everything plays out. But then that means we have Optic Texas versus Seattle Surge in winners round 2. Moving on though to losers round 1. This is on Friday. LAT versus Boston Breach. We saw them play this online. It was a 3-0 smoke show. It was a 20-minute series. I've said this all along from the very beginning. Boston Breach is a very solid team. They are not a top team. They've never been a top team, and I just don't think that they can be a top team. I just think that their ceiling is very low. Now, would I be surprised if they beat LAT? Absolutely not. LAT is wildly inconsistent. But I'll tell you what, I think LAT is going to have the fire. I do think LAT right now is still better than Boston. And I have them winning this series 3-1. They're moving on to losers round 2. Atlanta FaZe versus Paris Legion. Wow, imagine if I had Paris Legion winning this series 3-0. Absolutely not. I don't. This is a 3-0 smoke show. Paris, I was kind of high on them for a little bit. Absolutely not anymore. They have to make a roster change, but their org's broke or something. I don't know. So it's going to be LAT versus Atlanta FaZe in losers round 2. Wow, that is a tough draw if you're LAT. And the other losers round 1 matchups, we got Florida Mutineers versus LAG. LAG hasn't looked good. They won a major this year. They haven't looked good. Florida, they got 3 main ARs. Which way do I go? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I don't know. I big P on land. This one I feel like is very 50-50. I flipped the coin in my head. LAG won it. So 3-1 LAG. Actually, I'm going to go 3-2. I do think it's going to be a close series. And then the last loser round 1 matchup, we have NYSL versus London. And NYSL is just the much better team. I do think London could probably take a map off them. I don't think the series will be that close. London they haven't looked good in a while. There's really not much else to say. So I'm going to go ahead and do the losers bracket portion first before we get into winners round 2. LAT versus Atlanta FaZe. This is tough. This is tough. Do I think that LAT will play better individually and play better on land? Yes, of course I do. Do I think Atlanta FaZe get double bounced? Well, I guess even if they lost here, it wouldn't be double bounced, double DFR'd. But no, I think Atlanta FaZe make a little bit of a run. It's the Atlanta FaZe at the end of the day. And as much as I would love an upset, I just think, if they would have fallen into this bottom part of the bracket with LAG, I think that they could have beat LAG for sure. And maybe even kind of convincingly. But I got Atlanta FaZe moving on. LAG versus NYSL. I think NYSL mop the floor with them. I'll be honest with you guys. Meaning that they are going to move on. And now we have the winners round 2 matchups. Minnesota RØKKR versus Toronto Ultra. These two teams have played online at the Major 3 qualifiers where Minnesota won 3-2. This is going to be a great matchup. And Attach gets a piece of the pie every year. But like both of these teams are in top form. Okay? I could see this going either way. I'm going another 3-2 in favor of Minnesota RØKKR. And I'm going to be pissed if Minnesota just bomb out of this on land. Because then they're going to look like onliners and they're going to make me look bad. But I have them advancing. Optic versus Seattle Surge, the other winners round 2 matchup. I think Optic's just too strong. I do. I could see this going 3-2. And even though Seattle looked great, Optic have been just very consistent all year long. And unless ProLuke gets absolutely bodied on land, I think that they are going to be just fine. So then we have Seattle Surge versus the Atlanta FaZe in losers round 3. Seattle Surge kind of has Atlanta FaZe's number. all year. Even when they're not playing that well, they're playing very well right now. You know what? I think we're gonna have an upset. It's gonna be Seattle Surge winning 3-1 over Atlanta FaZe, knocking Atlanta FaZe out of the tournament. And then the other match, it's gonna be Toronto versus NYSL, and I actually have a 3-1 for Toronto Ultra. I think it's going to be NYSL winning like the first map, and then Toronto Ultra just winning the next 3, or 3-2. No, we're going to stay with 3-1. We're going to stay with 3-1. So that sets us up for a Seattle Surge versus Toronto Ultra losers round 4 matchup. Damn, it's tough, man. I got boys on both teams. Really do. But Toronto, it's their home major. I think they win this series. They move on to the losers finals. Winners finals, we have Minnesota versus Optic Texas. I think we go Optic Texas 3-2 over Minnesota, meaning that we're going to have Minnesota versus Toronto again in the losers bracket. Losers finals, we have a rematch. And it is true. See, this is where it's tough because it's Toronto's home major. You know, they get the home field advantage, but Attach gets a piece of the pie. Is this the point in this year where Attach gets his pie? No, it's not. I have Toronto Ultra winning this 3-1, moving on to the finals. Optic Texas versus Toronto Ultra, and I think we follow suit here. I don't know if this is where we get a repeat winner, even though I guess technically it wouldn't be because it would be Prolute in place of Illy, and Prolute is a sub. That's something I have to think about, which this kind of changes everything. But I think we get a new winner. And I think it's going to be the Toronto Ultra. I think they're going to win this series 5-3. They're going to win their home major. Much needed win for them. They've looked great. And this pickups was basically about as upsetty as you can get before you start crying. I don't know. I just have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of upsets. And yeah, don't forget to like the video. Or dislike the video. Well, I don't even know if you can. Don't dislike it, but I appreciate the love.